Namami Buddhang Gunasagarantam Santa Sada Hontu Sukhi Avera Kayo Jingunjo Sakalo Dugandho Gaccanti Sabbe Maranang Ahanche Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Homage to the exalted one, the worthy one, the supremely enlightened one. 3 refuge. Buddhang saranang gacchami Dhammang saranang gacchami Sanghang saranang gacchami. I go to the Buddha for refuge. I go to the Dhamma for refuge. I go to the Sangha for refuge. Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. A second time I go to the Buddha for refuge. A second time I go to the Dhamma for refuge. A second time I go to the Sangha for refuge. Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. A third time I go to the Buddha for refuge. A third time I go to the Dhamma for refuge. A third time I go to the Sangha for refuge. 5 precepts, Panchasila. Pānātipātā Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyāmi. I undertake that training to abstain from taking life. Adinna-dāna Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyāmi. I undertake the training to abstain from stealing. Kāmesu micchācārā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. I undertake the training to abstain from sexual misconduct. Musāvādā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. I undertake the training to abstain from false speech. Surameraya majjapamadaṭṭhāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. I undertake the training to abstain from intoxicating drinks and drugs causing heedlessness. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Buddha Vandana, homage to the Buddha. ඉතිපිසෝ භගවා අරහං සම්මා සම්බුද්ධෝ විද්‍යාචරණ සම්පන්නෝ සුගතෝ ලෝකවිදෝ අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්මසාරති සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවාති. Such indeed the exalted one, worthy, supremely enlightened, endowed with knowledge and conduct, well gone, knower of the world, incomparable trainer of persons to be tamed, supreme teacher of deities and men, enlightened and exalted. Dhammavandana, homage to the teachings of the Blessed One. Swakato bhagavata dhammo sanditthiko akaliko ehi passiko opanayiko pancantang veditambo vinyuhiti. Dhamma is well expounded by the Blessed One. Visible results immediately effective, calling one to come and see, leading onwards and to be personally realized by the wise. Sangha Vandana, homage to the noble disciples of the exalted one. Supatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Ujjopatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Nyaya patipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Samici patipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Yadidan chantari purisa yugani atta purisa pungalam Esa bhagavato savaka sangho Ahuneyo pahuneyo dakhineyo anjali karaniyo anuntarang punyakhentam lokansati. The order of the exalted one's disciples is practicing well. The order of the exalted one's disciples is practicing correctly. The order of the Blessed One's disciples is practicing rightly. The order of the Blessed One's disciples is practicing properly. The four pairs of persons, the 8 kinds of individuals. This is the order of the Blessed One's disciples is worthy of offerings and hospitality, worthy of gifts and salutation, the supreme field of merits for the world. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Samanta cakkavalesu atra gaccantu devatam Sandhammang munirajassa sunanto sagga mokkadang Dhamma savana kalo ayang badanta Dhamma savana kalo ayang badanta Dhamma savana kalo ayang badanta Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Tayo me bhikkave aggi katame tayo ragaggi dosaggi mohaggi ti ime ko bhikkave tayo aggi ti. Venerable members of the Mahasangha, friends in Dhamma, today you are going to listen to Buddha's message and practice the Dhamma, what the Exalted One explained. In this discussion, we are going to discuss one of the discourses that the Blessed One explained, named Aggi Sutta, the Discourse of Fires. There are 3 fires we can see in this discourse, which they are the fire of lust, the fire of hate, and the fire of delusion. These are the 3 fires that this discourse describes. Before we are going to explain this discourse, first of all, we are going to practice a meditation technique for our inner peace mental culture. For that, please get ready, friends in Dhamma. Please be seated comfortably and relaxedly. Be aware of your body posture, please. And keep your body straight and relaxed. Be aware of your body posture from your legs to head and from your head to legs. And please take a deep breath in. Hold few seconds and breathe out. Now keep your attention around the nose or upper lip in the present moment. Keeping your attention around the nose or upper lip, now we are going to practice loving kindness meditation, spreading loving kindness thoughts to everyone, those who are in this world. May all beings at this home be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. May all beings in this city be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. May all beings in the east direction be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. May all beings in the west direction be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. May all beings in the north direction be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. May all beings in the south direction be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. May all beings in this entire world be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. I see that all over the world, like my friends, like my family members, I see everyone like my only son or daughter. I am friendly with everyone, those who are in this world. I spread loving kindness thoughts to everyone, those who are in this universe. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. May all beings attain the final bliss of liberation. Practicing loving kindness meditation helps me to keep my mind peaceful and calm. This is the path for the peace of mind. Therefore, day by day, I practice loving kindness meditation in my day-to-day life. And also, I gradually increase the duration of practicing Metta Bhavana, loving kindness meditation, for my inner peace. I see the all over the world like my children, like my parents, like my brothers and sisters. I speak, I do something, I think with loving kindness thoughts. I don't keep away my mind from loving kindness thoughts. I do everything from morning to night with the thoughts of loving kindness. I always contemplate on thus, may all beings be well, happy and peaceful. Furthermore, I keep my attention around the nose or upper lip with breathing in and out. At the same time, I reflect on what happens to my life. My entire life is body and mind. This body every moment changes. Mind also changes. The nature of my life is that impermanence. Every moment my body arises and it ceases immediately. My mind also arises and ceases. The only reality which happens to my life is that impermanence. I contemplate on this reality again and again. My entire life is that 6 internal senses and 6 external objects. Every moment they arise and cease. When conditions arise, these things arise, and also when those conditions cease, these senses and objects also cease. When I recognize through my eye, 5 aggregates arise at the moment. Eye, form, eye consciousness, eye contact, the mental formations of form, the perception of form. These are the 5 aggregates which arise when I open my eye. Everything is impermanent. Eye is impermanent, form is impermanent, eye consciousness is impermanent, eye contact is impermanent. The perception of form is impermanent. The mental formations of form are impermanent. They arise and cease at the moment. My all senses are also like that. Every moment they arise and cease. When I recognize something through my senses, 5 senses, actually the first experience has ceased. The very first 5 aggregates which I receive as my previous result, they have arisen and immediately cease when I recognize something. I recognize everything through my mind consciousness. When I comprehend something through my mind consciousness, eye has ceased, form has ceased, eye consciousness has ceased, eye contact has ceased. I always recognize something through my mind consciousness. That mind consciousness also is impermanent. My entire life is the present moment. The present thought consists with other 4 aggregates: Rupa, form, Vedana feeling, Sanya perception, Sankhara mental formations, and consciousness. These are the 5 aggregates which I always deal with. These 5 aggregates arise and cease at the moment. They don't come to the present moment from the past. They will not go to future from the present. They arise and cease at the moment. The nature of the 5 aggregates is that arise in and cease in at the moment. Ahutva sambhutang hutva nabhavisyati. Not being occurred comes to occurrence. Being occurred will not go to occurrence. Everything is impermanent. Everything is dissatisfactory. every phenomenon are selfless. Sabbe sankhara anicchāti yada paññāya pansati ata nibbindati dukkhe esa maggo visuddhiyā. All conditioned things are impermanent. He who sees this reality with wisdom overcomes suffering. This is the path to purity. Sabbe sankhara dukkhāti yada paññāya pansati ata nibbindati dukkhe esa maggo visuddhiyā. All conditioned things are dissatisfactory or suffering. He who sees this reality with wisdom overcomes suffering. This is the path to purity. Sabbe dhamma anattāti yada paññāya pansati ata nibbindati dukkhe esa maggo visuddhiyā. All phenomena are dissatisfactory. All phenomena are selfless. He who sees this reality with wisdom overcomes suffering. This is the path to purity. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Venerable members of the Mahasangha, friends in Dhamma, today we are going to discuss a discourse which comes in Itiuttaka Pali in Khuddaka Nikaya, named Aggi Sutta, the Discourse of Fires. The Exalted One explains 3 fires here. They are the fire of lust, the fire of hate or ill will, the fire of ignorance or delusion. Why does Buddha explain these 3 things as fires? Whenever our mind is polluted with these 3 things, lust, hate and delusion, at the moment we have no inner peace. We have no real happiness at the moment. These 3 fires disturb our peace of mind. They steal our peace of mind. They kill our inner peace. That is why these 3 things, unwholesome mental states, lust, hate and delusion, as fires. First of all, we should understand the nature of these 3 things. Lust, greed or desire in Buddhism says as raga or lobha. When we are ignorant and we see something is very pleasant, we have attachment to something, some material things or persons. then we again and again find those things. That is the nature of lust or desire. The second one is hate, ill will, or anger. When we don't like something or someone, then we hate them. When we are angry with someone, we have no inner peace. Anger or hate burns our peace of mind. The next one is delusion or ignorance. Less understanding about the world. If we don't know the reality of the world, that is the nature of ignorance or delusion. Buddha says, among these three unwholesome mental states, ignorance is the worst one. It is the very worst darkness in our life. Buddha has explained his message. How do we overcome these negativities from our mind? Why do we need to overcome these negativities from our mind? The main purpose of everyone who was born in this world is that happiness. If our mind is polluted with these negativities, we have no real happiness. We have no peace of mind. That is why we need to overcome these negativities from our mind little by little. Buddha has explained several techniques how we overcome these negativities. Buddha's message has an order. He explains his message as an order. The message of the exalted one is like the ocean. The ocean deepens gradually. Buddha's message also like that. When Buddha preaches his message, he follows an order. In his word, he says, Dana kata, sila kata, sagga kata, kamanang adinavang, okaran sankilesang, nekkamme janisansan, like that. Dana kata, the stories of generosity. Sila kata, the stories of virtue or moral conduct. Sagga kata, the stories of going to heaven. Kamanang adinavang, the danger of sensual pleasure. Okaran sankilesang, the nature of defilements. Nekkamme anisansam, the result of practicing renunciation. When Buddha explained these stories and things, when the audience gains concentration, Buddha explains the next step, that the Four Noble Truths. When we are going to abandon these negativities, lust or desire, hate, ill will or anger, ignorance or delusion, little by little we can practice the path. We can overcome these negativities in 3 stages. One of them is that the opposite, as tadanga. The next step is that viskambana, as pre-present, and also samucheda, as destruction. These are the 3 stages that Buddha has explained to overcome these negativities from our mind. When we practice generosity and virtue, we can abandon these negativities from our mind in the primary level. when we have a generous heart, when we offer something to others, we can gradually overcome greed or attachment. And also, when we practice sila or virtue, moral conduct, discipline in our senses, then we can abandon lust and greed little by little. That is why Buddha has explained the gradual path. The very first meritorious deed is that practicing generosity or dana. When we practice generosity, we can overcome greed or attachment. And also when we practice 5 precepts, virtue or sila, that helps us to abandon lust and anger. Buddha has explained the importance of practicing 5 precepts: abstaining from taking life, abstaining from stealing, abstaining from sexual misconduct, abstaining from false speech, abstaining from intoxicating drinks and drugs. These are the techniques, precepts that we can follow to abandon lust and hate from our mind. As lay persons, you can spend a lay life. You can enjoy with your relatives and friends. You can do your responsibilities and duties for your relatives and friends. But there is a limit. What is the limit? Limit is that practicing 5 precepts. While we are practicing 5 precepts, as lay persons, lay people, you can spend a lay life. You can enjoy. But we should understand the enjoyment of sensual pleasure is very less. The danger is more. When we understand this reality, we always spend a life with a limit. The limit is that practicing 5 precepts as lay people. Practicing generosity and virtue or moral conduct is the very primary level techniques that we can practice to abandon our lust or desire and hate or anger. Then little by little we can go forward. In the level of repression, Viskambana Pahana, we go to the next level. What is that? Practice in concentration meditation. Keeping our attention in the present moment, if we can practice a meditation technique, such as loving kindness meditation, the contemplation of the impurity of body parts, practicing breathing meditation, contemplating on the 4 fundamental elements, contemplating of the qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma or Sangha. These are the meditation techniques that we can practice to abandon lust and hate as the level of repression, Viskambana Prahana. Here the foundation is the sila. We should have moral conduct, discipline in our speech and behavior when we go to this level as Viskambana Prahana or as the repression. We have to practice sila, and also we can practice the meditation technique. There are 40 meditation techniques that the Blessed One explained in his sermons that we can practice in our day-to-day life. The loving kindness meditation is very simple, and the contemplating on the impurity of body parts. When we contemplate the body parts such as skin, teeth, nail, urine, skin hair, these are the things which consist with our body. When we contemplate them one by one, we understand the nature of our life. It helps us to overcome lust or attachment to the physical body. It helps us to go forward on the path of liberation, inner peace. We do everything for our inner peace. If we have no inner peace, that everything we earned is useless. That is why we need to practice this path. In the second level, as the level of preparation, we can practice a meditation technique as we are familiar with. As the result of practicing concentration meditation, if we continuously practice it, we are able to concentrate our mind in the particular wholesome object in the present moment. When our mind gains concentration, we can abandon negativities from our mind. Especially, we can overcome 5 hindrances from our mind: sensual pleasure, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry, and skeptical doubts. These are the 5 hindrances that disturb our peace of mind. When we gain concentration by practicing the meditation technique, we are able to overcome these negativities from our mind. It means our mind is so pure and calm. Our inner peace gradually increases day by day as the result of practicing this path. But still we are in ignorance. Ignorance or delusion is the worst defilement that disturbs our peace of mind, that causes us to arise lust and hate. That is why in the Buddha's message, reducing, overcoming or abandoning of delusion is highly recommended in the discourses preached by the Exalted One, the Buddha. How do we overcome ignorance completely from our mind? For this, we have to understand the Four Noble Truths, the nature of our life. The Four Noble Truths is the main topic in Buddhism. The very first one is Dukkha Satya, the noble truth of suffering. The second one, the noble truth of the cause of suffering, Samudaya Satya. And the noble truth of the cessation of suffering, Nirodha Satya. And the noble truth of the path that leads to getting rid of suffering, Magga Satya. When we understand these 4 things, the 4 noble truths, we are able to understand what happens to our life, what the nature of our life is. What is the very first truth of suffering, the noble truth of suffering? Dukkha Satya. 5 aggregates. Arising of the 5 aggregates is the noble truth of suffering. When we experience something through our senses, when we experience something through our eye, ear, nose, or any sense, at once these 5 aggregates arise at the moment. Not only they arise, they immediately cease. But we are unable to get a complete understanding in the present moment with these 5 aggregates. Those things are very instant. they instantly arise and immediately cease. The very first experience is the dukkha satya, that is just a vipaka or result, that is not neither wholesome nor unwholesome, that is neither pleasant nor unpleasant, that is just a vipaka or result of our previous actions. If we are ignorant about this reality, we go to the next level. When we look at the world, if we are ignorant, if our mind is polluted with delusion, we think there is a particular world outside. When we are ignorant about the world, automatically our mind is fixed in outside material things or persons. Then we have lust or anger because of this ignorance. Then we go to the world. That is the origin of suffering. Samudaya Satya. When you look at something at the moment, when you understand something, actually we understand everything through our mind consciousness. When we recognize through our mind consciousness, because of our ignorance, our mind is fixed in outside material world. It means we are touching the suffering. What are the sufferings? Decay, aging, sickness, separation, sorrow, lamentation. These are the sufferings that we are touching when we are ignorant about the world. If we are mindful and wise, we understand suddenly. When we recognize something, we understand everything not through our eye consciousness or five consciousnesses, but through our mind consciousness. When we recognize through our mind consciousness, the five consciousnesses have ceased. If we have this understanding, and also if we are mindful at the moment, we go to the cessation of suffering. We go to the end of cessation. We understand my first experience has already ceased. When our mind has this understanding, our mind is not fixed in material things outside. Then we have no lust, no anger with anything or anyone. If we want to make true this reality, we need the path, that the noble truth of the path that leads to getting rid of suffering, which is the noble eightfold path, Arya Attangika Magga. In short, three disciplines, Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Virtue, concentration, and wisdom. Three disciplines. If we have this understanding, little by little we go forward on the path of liberation, which is the noble eightfold path. Sammaditthi. Now we have right understanding, the understanding of the Four Noble Truths. What are the Four Noble Truths? The noble truth of suffering, dukkha satya, the very first experience that should be realized. And the second one, samudaya satya, the origin of suffering. The origin of suffering should be overcome. And also nirodha satya. Nirodha satya, or the cessation of suffering, should be actualized. And the marga satya, the path, should be developed. If we have this understanding, always we practice mindfulness. Buddha says practicing mindfulness is the only way for getting rid of suffering. Practicing mindfulness is the only way for the purification of beings. If we want to purify our mind from lust, hate, and delusion, practicing mindfulness is the only path. Whenever we are mindful at the present moment, being aware of our body and mind, as soon as we see something, we hear something, we smell something, when we taste something, when we touch something, when we think something, we suddenly understand that the first experience, the forms have already ceased. I recognize these things through my mind consciousness. That mind consciousness is also impermanent. It arises and ceases. When our mind is not fixed in outside material things and persons, it means we are able to overcome lust, desire, or greed from our mind. And also we are able to overcome hate, ill will, or anger. We can develop our inner peace. Not only that, we can overcome, we can abandon delusion, which is the main reason of suffering. This is the path Buddha has explained to overcome, the path that leads to abandon negative thoughts, lust, anger, and delusion. In the primary level, as lay people, you can practice generosity and virtue of 5 precepts. Then you know the limits, and also you understand we have enjoyment in our life, but that enjoyment is very less, the danger is more. In this situation, little by little, we find liberation. When we develop our mind, when we practice generosity, we can see the beauty of our life. He who has a generous mind gains a lot of happiness. Not only that, when we practice 5 precepts, we can see the results. We have no problems in our social life or family life when you practice 5 precepts in your day-to-day life. You can develop your peace of mind. You can develop your harmony of your family as the result of practicing this path. Not only that, if we are able to concentrate our mind in a particular wholesome object, meditation technique, among the 40 meditation techniques, then we can see the beauty of our life. At the moment, our happiness is very high. Buddha says, if someone can concentrate his mind in a particular object, with a wholesome object for a long time, he gains a lot of happiness than who have this material world life. In this material world or sensual world, people have a lot of happy things, but those things end with suffering. If you have your relatives, one day you have to leave them. If you have a good complexion of your body, little by little it goes to old age. If you are healthy just now, one day we are subject to disease. Even though we have a lot of friends and relatives, when they are in the world, we have to close our eyes finally. In this situation, if we are dependent on material worlds, it means our life ends with suffering. As the followers of the Buddha, we don't need to end our life with suffering. We have a clear path that we can end our life without suffering, without dissatisfaction. That is why we have to practice this path. not only we end our life with happiness, but every moment when we spend our life, we can live happily, successfully, with satisfaction if we practice this path. Even though we associate something or someone, our final goal doesn't depend on material worlds. Always we keep a refuge in our mind by practicing Dhamma. We always give the priority to practice the Dhamma. Dhamma is kept in the higher level in our life. Then we do everything by practicing Dhamma. What is the Dhamma? Dhamma is the path that leads to getting rid of suffering, which is the Noble Eightfold Path. When we have this understanding that belongs to right understanding, Sammaditthi, understanding the Four Noble Truths. When we have this understanding, we have right thoughts, right intention, Samma Sankappa. Always we practice loving kindness thoughts. We don't hate others. We don't disturb others. We don't kill others. And also, we have discipline in our speech, right speech, Samma Vacha. Not only that, we practice Samma Kammanta, right action. We do always something righteously and correctly. And also, Samma Ajiva. We earn money righteously and honestly, according to 5 precepts. And also, we have right effort. We always train our mind to abandon negativities and develop good activities. Right mindfulness, we are aware of our body and mind. And also right concentration, Samma Samadhi. We always train our mind to concentrate our mind in the present moment with a particular wholesome object. Sati Nimitta or Samadhi Nimitta. As the result of practicing this path, little by little we are able to overcome these fires which disturb our peace of mind, which burn our peace of mind. The fire of lust, the fire of hate, the fire of delusion or ignorance. These negativities are the mental illnesses. These fires are more dangerous than the normal fires which burns the material world. That is why Buddha says, if someone has these fires, the fire of lust, the fire of hate, the fire of delusion, those fires burn our peace of mind, our mental health, our mental culture. That is why we need to overcome these negativities as much as we can by associating good friends, by listening to Dhamma, by practicing wise consideration, wise reflection, and by practicing Dhamma. If we are able to overcome these negativities, it means we are mentally healthy. You know, a lot of people in the world, even though they are physically healthy, mentally a lot of people in the world are unhealthy. They are sick mentally. What are the sicknesses in our mind? Especially there are 3 mental illnesses, lust, hate, and delusion. They are the mental illnesses that disturb our peace of mind. If we can abandon these negativities, lust, hate, and delusion, we can cure from these illnesses from our mind. Then we can purify our mind as the result of purification of our mind. As the result of purifying of our mind, we are able to develop our inner peace, mental culture, happiness, which is the main purpose of everyone. As the result of this path, we can be proud of our life that Buddha says, Susukangvata jivama aturesu anatura, aturesu manusyesu viharama anatura. Let's live happily without mental illnesses among the people, those who are mentally ill. This is the real success in our life. We always look at our physical health. Even though we are physically healthy, even though physically we are healthy, if we are mentally unhealthy, everything that we earned is useless. That is why we should give the priority to develop our mental health, which is the most important thing in our life. For that, Buddha has explained his message. All the Buddhist doctrines can be summarized into one sentence: Sacitta Pariyodapanam, purifying one's mind. The path that leads to getting rid of suffering and mental illnesses is that practicing mindfulness, being aware of our body and mind. For that, first of all, we should have clear understanding about the Four Noble Truths, and also we should have discipline in our speech and behavior. At least as lay people, you have to practice 5 precepts in your day-to-day life. Practicing generosity and practicing virtue of 5 precepts. If you can concentrate your mind by using some meditation techniques, then you can overcome abundant primary level negativities, fires from your mind, from your life. And that is not the final solution. The final solution is that practicing insight meditation, reflecting on impermanence. Our eye is impermanent, form is impermanent, eye contact is impermanent, eye consciousness is impermanent. If we reflect on them as impermanent again and again, we see the only thing which happens to our life is that impermanence. Everything is impermanent, everything is dissatisfactory, everything is selfless. If we can realize this reality, nature of our life, we don't depend on anything outside persons. It means we have created a refuge, insurance, assurance, safety in our life by practicing Dhamma. He who practices Dhamma is protected by the Dhamma. If we live according to Dhamma, especially according to the mindfulness, it means outside persons and things are unable to disturb our peace of mind. And also these fires, the fire of lust, the fire of hate, the fire of delusion, cannot disturb our peace of mind. They can't steal our peace of mind. They can't steal our inner peace because we have created a refuge in our life by practicing Dhamma. For that, we have to go forward on this path by listening to Dhamma, by practicing Dhamma. If we are able to go forward on this path, we are the luckiest persons in this world, because outside the other people don't know this path, especially who listening to Dhamma can understand this message, the path that other people who doesn't know the Dhamma can understand this reality. You are so fortunate. You know the path, how you can abandon your negativities from your mind gradually. When we practice this path, we are so lucky, we are so fortunate. We can go forward, purifying our mind, abandoning the fires that burn our peace of mind. For that, I wish you all the best. By the power of this spiritual path, by listening to Dhamma and practicing the meditation, you acquired a lot of positive thoughts in your mind. By the power of this spirituality, may your all righteous wishes, especially may your spiritual wishes meet with success. Finally, may all of us attain the final bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. If you have any question, you can ask. In this discourse, Aggi Sutta, the Discourse of Fires, Buddha explains 3 fires: the fire of lust, the fire of hate, and the fire of delusion. Fire means they burn our peace of mind. When our mind is polluted with lust, anger, and delusion, we have no inner peace. Our inner peace is burnt by these 3 fires. We should not give chance to these fires to burn our peace of mind. That is the real skillfulness in our life. For that, in one side, we have to know the Four Noble Truths. On the other side, we should practice mindfulness, fourfold mindfulnesses. Whenever we are mindful in our body and mind, then these fires are unable to burn our peace of mind. Whenever we are not mindful and not wise, at the moment these fires can disturb our peace of mind. If you are wise and mindful, you don't give any chance to anyone to disturb your peace of mind. That is the real success, real skillfulness that we can create in our life by listening to Dhamma, by practicing this sublime message. For that, I wish you all the best, and as the result of all these meritorious and spiritual activities, may all of us attain the final bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dukkam pantaca nirdukkam, bhayam pantaca nirbhayam, sokam pantaca nissokam, hontu sabbe pipanino. May the Triple Gem bless you.